Greetings, fellow armchair Imagineers. Tiki here,
And BlueDragonFive.
and welcome to the Kickback Cafe, the show where we kick back, relax, and talk about anything but Disney. And Dragon, tonight we're talking about a very special episode of Hey Arnold. So special that we decided to leave it out of the top 10 Hey Arnold episodes list that we did during Hey Arnold month.
Month.
So we decided to give this episode its own unique kind of retrospective, its own beat by beat. Like, let's really do a deep dive into it. We're talking about one of the definitive Arnold and Helga episodes of Hey Arnold. We're talking Helga on the couch. And why are we talking about it, Dragon?
Because it's Valentine's Day.
That's right, Dragon. That's right. I'm only going to play that once, folks, but just know that if I could have a soundboard and I didn't have to worry about copyright, I'd just be using that like throughout the show.
We just have that as like the ambient background noise if we could somehow figure that out. Fortunately, we don't have a radio show like Frasier does, so it's not in the cards.
All right, so Dragon, this is a very pivotal episode of Hey Arnold, and as a matter of fact, I've got to say, rewatching it, being the huge Helga Pataki fan that I am, this might be my number one in terms of all-time best. I mean, I know that we kept it off of the list because we're going to highlight it here, and it's a special and everything, but this is like the blue meth Hey Arnold, Dragon. This and I would say the blue meth of Hey Arnold is this for kind of the character stuff. And then Buses, Bikes, and Subways, which ended up being my number one for kind of like the urban adventure and the hilarity of it all. And then Pigeon Man for obvious reasons, like the artistic side of things. Like, Dragon, this is like one side of the Triforce of Hey Arnold.
I see.
if you'll excuse the Zelda analogy,
kind of the trident of love, if you will, to keep it Valentine's Day themed.
But seriously, would you agree that those are three? I mean, I know it's obviously not your top three because we differentiate them out, but that's a damn solid three. You know, that really represents different sides of the show.
Well, certainly, it's definitely a solid threesome.
All right. Anyways, Dragon. So tonight, Helga on the couch. What I really love about this episode is that I feel like this episode is perfect for Valentine's Day, but in a very unconventional way. Because this episode isn't just a typical kind of like, oh, look, it's Valentine's Day, you know, the paper hearts and the the crushes and Linus getting heartbroken and having his heart ripped out. You know?
Because today's Valentine's Day, I did rewatch that, and of course, it's funny. There are two Valentine's Day specials that Charlie Brown did, and the original, the one that we talked about, Be My Valentine, Charlie Brown, so superior, and I gotta tell you, that one really holds up on the rewatch. That still is, and that's really good.
But regardless, this is definitely a good example of a holiday special. I mean, we're kind of folks, we're talking about this.
Yeah, let's be clear here. So again, there is actually
a holiday special by any means, but I feel like it exemplifies the themes of Valentine's Day in all the best ways.
Like, believe me, folks. Traditionally, we love to say that Hey Arnold, all the holiday specials are great. However, there is one exception. The Hey Arnold Valentine's Day episode, the one
which really for Hey Arnold, a Valentine's Day episode should be, like you could do that with your hands tied behind your back if you're good at your job.
Exactly. So we're kind of right in the wrong there. Where again we were contemplating talking about Hey Arnold Valentine's Day, but you know what? It isn't up to snuff. Or again, compared to the very much kind of the phantasmy masterwork of a Hey Arnold episode you have with Helga on the couch. And again, not just for Tiki's preference, but a lot of people love this episode. Anyone who loves a Helga character loves this episode.
Absolutely. And this episode has it all. It has character building. It has the drama. I feel like it's definitely the closest look we get into the Pataki dynamic and the most hard-hitting. And of course, it's got such a sweet love story at the heart of it that really, it goes on to be sort of the lifeblood sort of running through the show all these years.
It is sort of the proof. It's almost like a proof of concept pilot for the Patakis in a way.
Oh God, yes. Oh my Drake, I want that so much.
And
Especially
again, Tiki, you're aware of the Patakis, where our character who's introduced in this episode was very much flirted to be a big player in that
absolutely,
show,
and she would have fit in. Like she would be a great like routine regular character on a series.
Absolutely, she would have been essentially the grandpa character.
Uh-huh.
You know,
A little bit more grounded than Grandpa.
well, I mean, of course, I'm just saying. Okay, anyway,
I
so
think Big Bob would probably end up being the Grandpa character. In all
okay, fine.
honesty,
Okay, yes, you're right. Yeah, but still, she would have been a pivotal character. She would have been kind of the Phoebe in lieu of Phoebe, let's say.
right. Anyways,
Most likely, Phoebe would not be included in the Patakis for the concept of that show, where it's like, hey, it's Helga outside of the city.
uh-huh.
Yeah.
All right. So shall we dive right in, or do you have some background?
Yeah, just like a sentence or two of background here. Really, 2 points is that Craig Bartlett, he has listed this episode amongst one of his favorites, at the very least, the episode he likes most, or I guess as Bartlett would probably put it, he likes most.
Yep.
It's an episode, and essentially the origin of this episode is quite simple, but quite brilliant when you think about it. Of course, every series has, especially an animated series, has what's called a Bible in terms of the animation Bible. Like Batman, the animated series is a Bible that gives them kind of like okay, this is our vision for this character, or some like general concepts we might want to explore in the series. Basically, it's like all the information that they need to go to, like, what ideas do we have for this character? Like, what's this character's backstory? Are they married? Yada, yada, yada. We consult the Bible, and then anything else we just have the writers come up with. So in this case, this episode utilized all the Bible information on Helga about her background. They always had this figured out. All the stuff about Helga's background they had figured out in that Bible. I mean, I don't know if this in its entirety was in the Bible, but at least a lot of the main points here, like I would presume, like Helga being shown kindness by one very important person. I would assume that
Right.
much is in the Bible, but. Essentially, they just took that.
And of course, all the Olga stuff. This episode has like one of the most blatant uses of Miriam equals alcoholic.
Exactly, and it feels very Bible derivative. I think you'll see at certain points. So basically, all the flashback stuff feels very kind of animation Bible-esque. And the point is, they went there, and the reason they reached into the Bible, took all the Helga stuff, is they've always kind of flirted with and were looking for the proper excuse to explain the why of Helga. Like, it's kind of explained to the kiddies out there. Why is Helga so mean? Why is she so complex? Why does she hide her feelings from Arnold? Why does she do that? Why is it a big secret? What's going on? Why can't she just do the direct approach? And this episode,
It's a really complex premise for a kid show, Dragon, I gotta say.
It is.
As we've discussed before, I do remember even those early trailers for the show. It had that kind of dynamic as a selling point for the series. They were bold enough to really be out there with it.
Certainly.
All right.
Well, that's all. Yeah, this basically finally gives us the why, and they use the Bible to make that happen. So let's dive right on in.
Okay, so we start with Principal Warts playing with his Aladdin Sultan style animal action figures.
That's what I thought years ago when I saw it. I kept thinking Sultan. I kept thinking
it totally is. I mean, I'd be surprised if it wasn't a direct reference
because they look all. I don't think it's a director. I think it's just it's little stackable animals and everything. It's like, oh god.
I don't know, Dragon. Aladdin was a huge movie during that time. I wouldn't put it past Nickelodeon to reference that.
Well, I like to think they referenced it, so let's just say they did. So yes, so basically has these seemingly stackable Toy Zoo animals. And Warts is interrupted by meeting our new important character for the episode. Dr. Bliss.
Yes.
Played by the wonderful Kathy Baker, who I think is best known for being let's just say trying how to phrase this delicately. I don't want to get too dirty on Valentine's Day here. The neighbor lady from Edward Scissorhands that took a particular forceful approach with Edward Scissorhands in the barbershop. Yeah, so that was Kathy. That was Kathy Baker. We know her for two other roles. There's one I want to. The movie's on Amazon. I have it on DVD. I've recently got it on DVD. Street Smart by Christopher Reeve and Morgan Freeman, which on an unrelated note would have also made an excellent kind of thing to talk about for Black History Month. But no rush. Anyway, she's in that film, but I think the thing Tiki and I both know her from, unrelated, is she was Tommy in Disney's right hand woman in Saving Mr. Banks.
Oh yes, yes,
Same actress, Kathy
absolutely.
Baker. So yes, Dr. Bliss, very important. Well, well designed character too. It's something appealing, something appealing and disregarding about the design. It's like, yeah, I kind of trust this lady right off the bat. I don't know why I just kind of trust her.
I feel like that's another feat of this episode is that it makes a psychologist likable because psychologists just in general are sort of typically portrayed as either incompetent or predatory.
Yeah.
So Dr. Bliss is neither. Dr. Bliss is very personable. She's very professional, and you can see that in her design. You're right.
So Dr. Bliss, just to put it simply, Dr. Bliss is there to observe the students, and Principal Ward's classically, just thinking he's again he does care, but he's kind of blissfully ignorant at the same time. Or Wart's he's very confident. Miss Dr. Bliss, I'm sure, unlike PS 117 and 119, you'll find that PS 118 is the picture of mental health. Cut to
Helga Pataki. Oh boy.
this is a brilliant cut, by the way. Just a
I
brilliant
mean,
cut
it's cuts
example.
and timing like this that just make the episode what it is. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah, it's great. And again, I love just the fact that Wirtz has these desk toys, by the way. Anyway, so yes, we cut to Helga going down the hallways doing her thing. Dr. Bliss, she catches a glimpse of Grumpy, and again, what I love in this episode on the rewatch tape, which makes this episode really come to life and really can help it for posterity's sake, is that we have so many moments you can see in the opening that are so well complemented and explained in our backstory stuff later on, because we see things mirror each other here where, Helga, she's going down the hallway, like one side, Buck, and she's knocking stuff down and like just kind of trouncing through the hallways. And we see the origin of this in the flashback. So a little thing to note there. Dr. Bliss, she's taking note, and again, she's taking some notes that are also going to come back. So again, it's all relative, folks. It's all relative. Catching a glimpse of grumpy woolly Helga here, pushing everyone down the hall. And then we have something that's it's really funny to me. I love that. I've always loved the dynamic between Phoebe and Helga. How Phoebe's like the best personal assistant ever to Helga, and just,
Oh,
it's
Japanese
always
noted English.
that's the thing is Phoebe's trying to spice things up a little, it kills me, taking what I love so much rewatching these. I keep forgetting and just how perfect it was. Where Helga's just like it's like she's the boss of like of some sort of corporation, where Phoebe is the assistant. She just comes in the morning, wants her coffee, and she's just saying, "Okay, what's in the docket? Nah, don't do that, Phoebe. No, we got stuff to do." It just feels very much like no Japanese Phoebe, not in the mood today. It's really just endlessly kind of funny to me, just like how that system worked. It's a very mundane system, but it's emphasized so importantly, which is how Helga does everything. She emphasizes it to the utmost professional level.
Yeah.
Okay,
So,
so Bliss.
so Simmons, he only has a couple brief moments here, but he's really funny.
Yeah, good old Mr. Simmons.
Yeah, first of all, he's like kind of, unintentionally downplaying the psychologist with the finger quotes, introducing Dr. Bliss.
I love it.
Psychologist.
Tell me you caught this, Tiki. If you notice, while he's doing that, she takes note. Like she's a little like not offended, but she's a little like, "Oh man, he's really using this quotes from."
God.
So yes,
And then of course, as he's introducing her, he's like, "All right, you're here to observe the students, not the teachers. I'm sure, right? Right, Dr. Bliss."
yeah, I gotta tell you, I love Mr. Simmons so much. I want good things from Mr. Simmons. Like look at him; he's nervous about
I
his
was very pleased with his role in the Jungle movie. I gotta say.
certainly.
All right.
So, basically, Bliss, she's kind of, and this is a typical thing in classrooms of actually any grade, college alike, high school. They always do this sort of thing where you have someone sit in the back and, of course, freaking out the teacher. And I like how we kind of addressed that with Simmons as well. It's like the teacher's always like a little nervous about, oh boy, what if this doesn't go well? As they are being observed, and Bliss, she's just kind of taking notes of the students. Like, okay, is there any abnormal personalities we got going on here? Particularly this angry girl with the pink bow. Let me see what's going on here. So, Helga initially just writes her off, like, oh, well, I've got nothing to hide. Again, Helga, almost similar to Warts, but it's mainly derived from Big Bob. She's just completely oblivious to the fact that she's saying, "Oh, I got nothing to hide," as she's like drawing sketches of Arnold. She's so
Of course, she's
desensitized to
literally got like the carved out book with the football.
exactly. So I would say so. Initially, we sorry, I'm sorry. After the
We get the montage of the spitballs.
right, because I kind of think I jumped ahead with like now, like Simmons, like as she like discounts her, then Simmons is saying like the whole like, "Oh, you're just here for the students, right?" Okay, anyways, then Bliss is taking note of Helga's montage here, where she's basically fronting Arnold with her bullying advances here. Like with all the spitballs. She's she gazes lovingly, and then of course she's has a little. Then we discovered a little hollowed out relic of Arnold, kind of like Shawshank style, hidden in the book. Let's see. So then Bliss, she's taking note. Yeah, right. So she's taking note of all this. Helga, where is here? Well, I know she. God, I'm sorry. I'm trying to think after that scene. Is there anything we're missing here? So Helga. Oh, all right. Helga's agenda. Like she gets out of there and she makes reservations with Phoebe about like Phoebe take care of my reservations for the Foursquare Court, would you? For the Foursquare Court. So then she begins the monologue about Arnold as she tends to do, and then
Arnold, what a nerd, what a goof, what a tiny-headed creep. How I hate him, and yet I love him.
And this monologue kind of is about finding peace. She kind of wants to find peace, which is kind of is kind of thematic for the episode. She's kind of finding peace about her feelings for Arnold to a degree. So about this, like, oh, if only we could find peace. Then of course ends with the traditional punch of Brainy, but this time we do a little bit differently. So she punches Brainy.
This episode does quite a few subverting of things.
Yeah, some great subversion. So there's a witness this time. Egad.
Yeah.
There are consequences. Oh my God, it's riveting.
And I would say we kind of get like a good sort of like bookends to the brainy, unconventional stuff, like at the beginning and end of the episode.
Yes, we do. So Principal Warts is chewing Helga out, and of course we continue to have the desk toys gag. As like the giraffe or something out on the desk. And also I love the clacking balls. He has like the old clacking balls that you have on the desk. Of
course, a signature of any school authority figure.
Hey, it plays mind games like, oh my God, why does he have a desk that looks so intimidating and metallic? Oh God. So this is so let's see. So we have this this common unapologetic occurrence, and this is kind of what Helga does. For this common unapologetic occurrence, like I hit him because he was breathing behind me, without really explaining it that well. The guy just kind of hovers over me constantly. Got a little tired of it without saying it. I was like, if I just hit him, who cares? I do it all the time. Of course, just kind of writing yourself, kind of putting yourself in the corner on this. Like, oh God, you've copped to doing it many other times. Warts is like, hellfire kind of about to rain down upon her with punishment. But then, Helga is now being volunteered for being the first candidate for Dr. Bliss.
Mm-hmm.
So Warts, Warts initially tries, as I was saying, like Warts tries to sell the therapy as a punishment, but then Dr. Bliss says, let me handle this. I'm a professional. Of course, they have the gag with the toys, where then he's just playing with his toys in the background while this is going on. Bliss, she makes it clear that her mission is to help and get to the root of Helga's issues, and then Helga essentially makes the realization of your issues. Like she realizes, okay, this lady's going to try to get on, try to get in my head. That's not.
I love how it's just basically kind of like a Mission Impossible thing at that point. It's like, okay, like this cannot happen.
Yep. So let's see. Helga, she has a very kind of Hitchcockian or like Marion Crane-esque walk home, where she's
God, this is iconic, Dragon. This is one of the most iconic scenes in the series, I think.
I love this scene's in the ending, and Tiki, I love the ending based upon.
Oh, I do too, absolutely.
it takes on so many meanings on the rewatch, but we'll get there. So she has like a Marion Crane kind of Hitchcockian walk home, like paranoid about things, and you're just kind of losing her mind here and there. And that kind of tracks through the episode. You get to see how kind of more crazed she gets through the episode. She knocks over a lemon stand, and Tiki, what happens?
All the lemons turn into little lemon head versions of Arnold.
You heard that right, folks. We're not exaggerating on that. I swear to God. She says, "I'm not nuts," and of course, the various sprawled out lemons.
Dragon, every time I see this episode, it never gets old. It never gets not funny. You know what I mean?
And Tiki.
Hey, Helga, how's it going? Just the timing of it, like how they all sound like it's like Arnold's exact cadence and delivery.
Here's the funny thing. I can't prove it, but I'm convinced Craig Bartlett did the voice for him. I can't prove it. I think he did the voice for him, and he mirrored Arnold's cadence like that. And but it's just so funny that I love how pleasant all of those lemons are. That's the thing that cracks me. Oh my god, those are such pleasant. Again, it's insane.
Because they totally fit into Helga's fantasy of Arnold.
Yes, if there were sentient lemons in
Even
Helga's world,
mutated, like little lemon versions of Arnold are like the perfect human specimen in her eyes.
Exactly. In Helga's perfect kind of utopian world, all the fruits would look and sound like Arnold. They would. I mean, again, I gotta tell you though, it's kind of a pleasant fantasy. Like friendly fruit like that.
Did you ever get a chance to go to Food Rocks at Epcot?
No.
It's a audio animatronic musical review of food. It's like the Tiki Room, but terrible.
Tell me this. I think I just gotta know this. All right.
Okay.
Does the food talk?
Well, yeah, that's the whole point. It's like they sing and dance and everything.
Okay, but importantly, it's kind of like does it work like the Muppets, where like they're puppets that talk and everything? It's not just like sound coming out while the food's in focus.
It's animatronics.
Fucking fruit, my god.
You're just having flashbacks to Sausage Party, aren't you?
No. I'm having. Don't. What? Now you gotta put that in my head. No, I was thinking that was the positive version of that with Muppet Christmas Carol. All the singing like. Happy
right.
All the singing happy fruit and vegetables.
Uh-huh.
Anyway, so singing happy fruits and vegetables aside, let's talk about. Oh god, here we go. And again, there's kind of some darkness attached to this. Years later, watching Big Bob gets the therapy call.
Yeah, absolutely. And this is such a realistic kind of like hard-hitting thing with kind of it's a generational divide.
Yeah, so Bob, he's worried he worries about the call he worries about the call, and that it's like he worries about therapy and the stigma. He's worried more about the stigma, I guess would be the way of putting it. He's worried more about having the Pataki family, especially with the Beeper Empire. But again, his point is like a guy who just doesn't quite get therapy is afraid of being looked at as being responsible for which is a really dark connotation that Big Bob just doesn't really care about her well-being, but more so cares about being looked at, being looked at as an inferior parent, which he is.
Oh, absolutely.
Like march to the trophy room, and again, honestly, the chilling line he has, and we'll get to it momentarily. Is here we go. It's,
oh God, yeah.
They're in the trophy room, and Big Bob. I'm kind of paraphrasing here. I think it's essentially this.
I have the line.
Sure. Hit him with the ticket.
Just for the record, Dragon, I'm just reading through the transcript, so any line you want me to quote, I could quote.
Oh yeah, there are transcripts. I forgot about that. Yeah.
That's how I'm doing my notes. So. Okay, so Bob's cutting line, Dragon, one of the most haunting lines in any animated show, I think, is, I don't want you blabbing to some school shrink. We Patakis don't talk about things. We sweep them under the rug.
That's the line, yeah.
And then, of course, Miriam stumbles in with her quote-unquote smoothie. Yeah, some things are better swept under the rug, Helga.
So again, just look at the connotation of that, where it's like don't say anything to the therapist. This is coming from the parents. It's a horrifying message right there.
Mm-hmm.
And of course, let's see, her Bob is remarking as she leaves the scene, oh man, her blabbing, we're all gonna go to a funny farm. And this never would have happened to Olga. And that's the haunting line of the episode. It's going to come back a lot. This never would have happened to Olga. And he says that a lot in this episode.
This is very much outside of the main Olga introductory episode. This is probably the biggest heavy hitting. Olga is a major issue.
So let me hit you with this, Tiki, real quick. Is that
okay.
It's a real smart from a plot perspective. This is a really smart recap of Helga's issues for anyone for some reason. Again, this is very much as an explanation episode. It's the origin of Helga's issues, and it does. It would prove a smart move to explain, okay, just the recap, just in case people weren't familiar with what the family dynamics are. Because again, we are going to see him in flashback, but also see him, being enacted in the modern day. Where so Big Bob is the blowhard, doesn't really care that much. He's got a beeper, fixation. Miriam, we really crank up again, going back to the series Bible a lot with this. Miriam, very uber smoothie, just completely detached and uber smoothie enthusiast, let's say.
There's a scene with Miriam that reminds me of my own mother in the most haunting of ways, Dragon. We'll get to it.
And of course, I'm saying that the reason I highlight this scene for all this is that in this scene we kind of hit all three beats, and the third beat is that again Big Bob mentioning Olga with that line. This never would have happened to Olga. Again, putting Olga on a pedestal, even making her a part of this, even though she is not here. And we'll get to her in flashback. But the point is, we're hitting all the right, we're checking all the familiar boxes with Helga, an episode that you could just jump into this and get it with Helga. Then you watch the other ones. It's kind of a good one that makes the other episodes retroactively even better.
For sure.
And again, that dark undercurrent also is kind of like there's a thread of that here of like, hey, don't confess about our family dysfunctions. Implying that Bob, and the horrifying implication, and we'll move on, is that it implies that Bob knows that he screwed up a little, but he's covering it up.
I mean, yeah, I definitely think that Bob at a certain point just kind of made a decision like, A, I'm going to concentrate more on Olga than Helga, and B, more importantly, I'm the beeper king more than I am a father.
I mean, again, think about how horrifying this is to an extent. And again, if you want to look at it, again, I think if I'm remembering, I keep marking it by like which is Cell Anime, which is this is season 4, and that's an amazing thing about this episode. By the way, this is season 4. We're getting an episode this in depth because as Harold went forward, I'm not saying it decreased in quality, but by the last season there was
Arnold betrays Iggy.
That's what I'm saying. So yeah, I can't say like all encompassing.
Season 4, it wasn't like post movie SpongeBob by any means, but you could kind of see the chinks in the armor starting to form a little bit.
At the very least, by the 5th season. Again, we're not there yet, but you can see that there's a difference. It's not their A season. Their A season's like season 2 and 3 is their A season. Then we kind of get to their B stringers and then C. And so again, nothing horrific, with the exception of again the worst episode being Arnold betrays Iggy, and I guess just your disappointing episode Valentine's Day.
And then also the Phoebe's embarrassing problem or whatever it is.
Yeah, which again, I'll take it over Iggy, though. I'll take it over Iggy.
I know, but it's still a facepalm, though.
You're right about that. Anyway, so I mean, but yeah, that Bob being complicit, and usually just he's ignorant. It's like, okay, Bob doesn't know, and we still like him because he just doesn't know he's a moron. In this case, it kind of implies that Bob knows a little. That's kind of scary.
Yeah.
Right,
and Dragon, I listed Big Bob as one of my top 10 non-Disney animated villains way back in the day, and I feel like, in spite of him having his likable moments, especially in stuff like the Jungle movie, episodes like this kind of make that selection justified. It was an unconventional pick for sure, but
he's very much Nickelodeon's Pete.
Oh yeah, for sure. Like a more developed, more kind of three-dimensional Pete.
Yep.
All right,
Helga, she's ranting before bed. She's determined not to crack, to outsmart the shrink, which is an impossible challenge, by the way.
yes. So trust me on that. I know.
And let's see. So then we have the. So now for me, T, for my money, I know we've had some good contenders in the past, but for my money, this is the most memorable shrine we've had for Arnold, because we have, and this is what burns in my brain. Because aside from this, I think the other most memorable might be, again, it's kind of a gross most memorable, the giant gum wad thing.
To me, that's kind of the standout, just like you said, for the gross out factor. But
yeah, but again, the one that's like preferable, like I really appreciate the craftsmanship. I love everything about it. Is that this one has like the African tribal mask thing. It's like a hat / like a headpiece she wears, and she puts it on. I was actually in a museum like last year, I guess middle to late of last year, and I just saw some like African tribal mask. I didn't see anything that looked quite like this, but I'm just saying it was like I saw like a bunch of masks and they were worn for ceremony and stuff. So again, it was just it's funny. So it's the Helga put this thing on. She has like lipstick and making like the markings on her face. But again, I love the stand she has for it. Again, she takes such care of this. Again, that's the thing that sticks out to me. It's like she takes the orange hat off of it and just becomes Arnold. And when you really think about one of these days, we gotta track the religious connotations of this cult of Arnold.
Oh my god, that would be a fun podcast. That'd take a lot of research, Dragon. Like I would like, as a giant Helga fan, I would need to make sure I did my homework on that one. But that'd be a lot of fun.
However, I will throw this. I'll give you a taste of it, though. I'll give you a taste of it. Is that unintentionally? Again, there's no way they could have I'll bet you there's no way they could have done this intentionally, but I think unintentionally they kind of foreshadowed what we see with the green eyes in Jungle Movie with this, where again a tribe, basically a tribal kind of people worshiping Arnold, the idea of people worshiping Arnold. So, again, kind of put into play by all this Helga worship, and again, this episode gives us a lot of inklings to like how scary and darkly religious that might be. So she's literally praying to Arnold in this scene, and she gets kind of tied up. Basically, she's literally praying for strength against against the shrink from Arnold here, and she trips on the Christmas lights. I know it sounds off, but no, she trips on Christmas lights, and she falls, and there's a big thud. Which again now because they have to be on point, Bob and Miriam are alerted to the sound, and they peek in the room, and this animation on this cracks me, where Miriam just doesn't really notice, but Bob in the background does. This is they walk, the age old, they walk in on the kid doing something stupid, and of course Bob remarking, "What a nut job! I need a smoothie."
Right.
Okay. Next day, Helga arrives in disguise. Drives in disguise, kind of pulling an old Ninja Turtle, kind of an old 40s guy, wearing trench coat, glasses, and everything. And of course, she's instantly recognized by her pal Phoebe.
Of course, Phoebe kind of gives a quick public service announcement about in this day and age, therapy sessions are accepted to be perfectly normal and quite useful.
Yeah, to anyone who doubts the usefulness of therapy, I'm going to give you something completely unrelated, but vaguely connected to tonight's themes. Sebastian Stan, he has a therapist, so don't feel ashamed.
All right, nice.
He does. And he talks to his therapist regularly. He's like talked to his therapist on the phone while walking down the street. He's proud of his therapist, darn it. Anyway. So
proud, Dragon.
But he is okay with this therapist, darn it.
Well, he is very, very happy with his therapist, Dragon. That's
he is satisfied with his therapist, darn it.
Absolutely.
There we go.
Sorry, folks. Proud is kind of like a trigger word for an intro.
I'm tempted to go on a tangent right now, but
no,
don't.
I want to stay on point.
You're right. Anyway, so we do have. I'm so glad you phrased like a PSA because it is a good message of don't fear therapy and also why, and what we showcase also as kind of a PSA is with Helga what not to do, because I think it's pretty good. It goes without saying, but I like that we express it in the system for the kiddies out there that don't try to lie to your therapist. It's not going to go well. Just don't try to cover it.
Never try. You'll just dig yourself into a deeper hole, or
you'll waste a lot of money. So either way.
Yeah, one of the two.
That's the thing, folks. Never try to outsmart the therapist because their job's to be agreeable. So it's just don't. Well, have to. I don't want to get into complexities of it. Let's just move on. Anyway, so she tosses the disguise behind the cactus, which just kind of cracks me up. Just like she put all this work into it. Forget it. So she's in the office, and Dr. Bliss has a really nice office, right?
She does, yeah.
He has like that. I love that painting. I think it's called the Diner, the Elvis one, the bartender and everything. It looks really nice, and he's got a nice office, darts, he's got nice cushy chairs. I think Bliss does well for herself. I think she's a popular therapist.
Well, that is, kind of getting into the marks of therapy and the profession and everything, Dragon. A well-designed office is kind of a big key thing, wouldn't you agree?
I would agree. I mean,
that's like, a first impression and like, oh, this is a nice, comfortable space. That's everything.
I will give you an example from pop culture here. The Dr. Kroger from Monk.
What about The Sopranos?
Oh, Dr. Melfi. Oh my God, again, good therapist. I mean, there's a lot of therapists. And I'm saying in terms of setting, the Monk setting for therapy was always great because they have this really nice office set. In the background, there's it wasn't like a backyard, but it was like this area that was like a square in between other offices within the building. There was like a Zen garden almost. It had like rocks and like a little water fountain behind them. And it was one really played really well on camera, but secondly, it was a nice little therapy set in there. So again, it helps you buy in a little comfort of the therapy there. So
nice.
Okay, so start us off.
But yeah, Helga's being very passive aggressive about everything. Being hostile, to use Dr. Bliss's terminology.
Yep. Right off the bat, Helga's kind of sizing her up and the whole, so you're a child psychologist. Did you choose to be that? Well, basically, she admits, yeah, well, no, I didn't flunk out of, of being a doctor. I chose the child psychology
Mhm.
because I like to help children.
Well, what do you do for you, Doc? Helga's just like I said, she's so passive aggressive in this. She's not necessarily being a jerk, but it's just her tone is just so hostile, you know?
And again, she's doing that for a reason. She's doing what she usually does with Arnold. She's fronting. She's
Exactly.
putting on a false facade there. So let's see. So then, Helga, yeah, she's deflecting with the snarky questions. Again, what she's trying to do, she's trying to waste the therapy session, so she doesn't have to. She's trying to deflect constantly with this whole opening. I love how we addressed that with the whole 49 minutes remaining. So I love it. It suggests that she's wasted all this stuff here. It's wasted approximately, I guess, like 11 minutes.
Something like that, yeah.
So let's see. So she's
Talking about reading books, and then don't we have like a nice montage of like
Well, yeah, we also have this really great bit, and I love that we addressed that in this episode. That Helga, she has basically Bliss notes that Helga has a very astute kind of interest in art and poetry, which we know she has interest in the poetry, but particularly with art, when Helga looks at the painting and says, "Oh, Edward Hopper," I think he's good, but he's got a weird thing about women. Again, oh man, that's a very astute observation, which again speaks to Helga having a lot of potential for the field of the arts.
yeah, definitely.
Again, we see Bliss is good over. We see Bliss is really good at her job with moments like that, kind of giving Helga credit where credit's due, and kind of analyzing her while she's just taking it all in. So let's say Helga thinks she's clever with the whole chair role reversal. I love this, and I love there's actually a mini arc in this episode, Tiki. I don't know if you noticed that Helga does not sit. I don't think I'm trying to remember if she eventually gets in the chair, but basically Helga, she avoids the chair at all costs, and what she does is she kind of moves around the room, getting closer and closer to the chair. Whether she ends up in the
Yeah, I
chair or not,
noticed that. Yeah.
can't remember, but I know she she switches roles and puts her in the the historic therapy couch. Then basically analyzes her for a bit, does the age old joke of like, okay, I'm just sketching other things.
But of course, we get the jump rope gag.
Yep, they're kind of bonding over the jump rope, Harbor Street. Let's see. No, not David Harbour's address. No, I'm talking about Harbor Street. So, sorry, obscure joke. Anyway, so we so let's see. They're starting to crack layers. Talking about Bliss is starting to crack some layers, talking about her sister, which of course leads to some conversation about Olga as Helga is very aggressively playing darts. And then we have I don't know if you ever picked up on this thing. I always thought of it as an homage to Natural Born Killers. It's very
I
very
didn't pick up on the natural born killers of it all, but now that you mention it, yeah, I can see it.
I'm just saying it. I mean, on its surface, it's very much like a Leave It to Beaver kind of like
Mhm.
'50s, family sitcom. But I mean, I think looking at like
Oddly enough,
again,
Dragon, I obviously this is like way, like this just came out, but I can almost kind of see some qualities of like the Shape of Water with like Michael Shannon's perverse Leave It to Beaver storyline.
well, I mean, sure, I mean, yeah. Now we can see that again. I don't think you have a lot of that without like something like Leave It to Beaver. I'm sorry, not darn now you have without Natural Born Killers kind of putting the subversion of the whole like, yeah,
Right, right.
it's like the Johnson family is happy, but secretly little Tammy is planning to kill the family with a shotgun. Something like that. But yeah, Natural Born Killers thing is just that's like the dark, the dark seriousness below the happy peppy music.
Mhm.
So it's
Of
basically
course,
kind of
Mr. Robot obviously took homage to that as well.
exactly. So that's what I'm talking about. Oh, again, very feels very Natural Born Killers esque. Like Rodney Dangerfield as the loving '50s father who was truly a horrible monster. So, basically, we have like kind of essentially, getting off the Natural Born Killers things. Again, it's like very much like a Leave It to Beaver flashback of Olga and the family. Like, hello, coffee with the laugh track and everything. And
I'll have another cup if you made it.
I love that they're promoting coffee instead of smoothies for Miriam.
Oh God.
And look, as always, just because we have the opportunity here, and again, we're going real in depth and kind of talking about what Harold means to us. Again, real quick, I'm just going to say again with Olga, and I mentioned this during the Jungle movies. As a character, always kind of struck a chord with me because I know people like I know someone like Olga.
Sure, sure.
And again, like I don't, by no means do I have like a negative relationship with that person. I'm saying whenever I see Olga, it reminds me of that person. So,
Oh,
okay. So we have, Happy Bob, Miriam, so something's definitely off here. Happy Bob and Miriam, they're eager for coffee, and then the laugh track's coming in there, and we see the beeper belt again, getting all the beeper stuff in there. Then we go from I love how we go from black and white to color with the reality of Helga. So you get a sense of, okay,
Kind
there's
of
what
like
Helga's.
switches from Leave It to Beaver to Roseanne.
Oh my God, you're right.
Like
Yeah.
it's still a sitcom, but it's like a blue collar sitcom.
Yeah, you're right. It does do. I didn't think of that. Yeah. But yeah, so it goes to kind of the color coded, reality, grittier reality with Helga, and again, it's kind of a good we go from like what she imagines psychologically. It's like she imagines it like the twisted, Leave It to Beaver, when in
Right,
reality
right.
she's living Roseanne. So, and again, Tiki, I love how this seeds in our ultimate flashback here, where Helga is, she's without a coat. She has to pack her own
Oh yeah,
lunch.
oh yeah.
It's the
Oh,
same
we'll get to that
lunchbox.
flashback, folks. That flashback is like the root of everything.
But seriously, I love how we build to it, though. Think about how
Yeah,
clever
yeah.
that is. We build to it and we parallel it here because we're in the same situation today. She's without a coat. The weather's not so good outside. It's snowing, but still looks almost rainy. She packs her own lunch using the same exact lunchbox. It's the same one. And again, what Helga packs for herself, because again, Miriam she's on the couch, just kind of conked out. She packs. It's so sad, Dick. It's so sad. She packs a can of beans.
Yep. God.
A can of beans, a spoon, closed lunchbox. She walks to school in an unforgiving, cold, snowy morn.
Very
Yep.
dramatic, indeed.
Yes. It's a sad portrait, folks. So, she almost lets it slip there. Like, I feel invisible to everybody. I feel invisible to my family. It would be crazy if not for all. And of course, she stops herself as
There are no air conditioners working in this entire building. It must be 90 degrees in here.
fires into like a rant about the air conditioner to detract. And then let's see, we have our big dramatic act break coming up. We're almost there. So Helga's. Just to acknowledge again, Helga's family life is very sad in the house. She's invisible, and it's scarily just like the later flashback. That again, the pattern behavior has continued. Helga attempts to leave in this moment, and then realizes, Helga, you still have 49 minutes left.
Like you said, Dre, I feel like that's a bit of a cheat with like all the bonding they do and the jump rope and everything.
I still think it's kind of funny though. Again, it's kind of like it's kind of playing the cartoon logic of, hey, it feels like an episode's gone by already. 11 minutes.
Right,
We crammed
right.
so much into that 11 minutes. Okay, but Helga, she wants to leave because now she realizes how dangerously close she is, and again, like her stalling is not assisted. She's no Scarlett Johansson. She can't stall. She
Oh
can't.
God.
So I'm stalling.
Okay, okay, yeah. Anyways.
Anyway, so Helga, she points out that, hey, I'm onto your game, lady. I know what you're doing, trying to buddy up to me, all the jump rope and everything. It's a lie. She doesn't say that. So, Bliss suggests keeping it conversational. Okay, we don't have to talk therapy. We don't talk about the family. We don't talk about all the obvious problems. We can talk about the weather or sports or your classmates. And then here's the here's the dramatic act break.
Oh God.
We can talk about Arnold. Again, Tiki, it's the perfect shot. It's the perfectly framed shot of Helga by the door. And again, like the reaction on her face, turned away from Dr. Bliss. We can talk about Arnold. Oh God, it's so perfect. We even echo it when we come back from commercial because they don't want to risk anyone forgetting that. Oh my God, folks, we did something brilliant. Listen to it again. We can talk about Arnold.
God.
So it's the big dramatic. I know your secret act break. It's very much like, hey, I know you're Bruce Wayne. That sort of thing.
Of course, yeah.
So she confronts Helga with the Arnold observation. So again, she's confronting Helga not with observations, but with cold hard facts, factual observations, the worst kind. Where she's counted 57 spitballs, staring at Arnold throughout the class, calling him football head. Basically equates to that's a lot of attention, negative or not, to pay to one person. So Bliss knows statistically something is up.
Mm-hmm. And I love how she gets very defensive over her not being angry with him.
Yeah, and that is important. Let's see.
Of course, she
Um,
uses the lousy excuse of the calendar gag. Today was Gerald Day. I shot rubber bands at Gerald.
yeah, she's just absolutely floundering with that theme day excuse, and I love this. I love the avoidance inner monologue. You know, she's just like, it's like, okay, don't say anything, don't say anything, don't say anything.
Okay, so then we get some classic therapy tests. Oh
We get the
God.
ink blots, the age-old ink blots. Of course, with the ink blots,
Oh yeah.
part of me is thinking because honestly, it's been on my mind a lot lately. Because I swear to God, like Batmania, you know, they've gotten various days into it. It's an event on YouTube doing commentary on Batman movies, and they covered Batman Forever. And I watched that a few days ago. Then Nostalgia Critic, he has recently done a Batman Forever review. So Batman Forever has been on my brain. Of course, the ink blot of it all is that is that very obvious bat-looking ink blot from Batman Forever. So we're seeing this ink blot again. It's like consecutively like 3 times this week I've had ink blot related bits. I've been confronted by ink blots so much. Like it's like I'm on a path of becoming Rorschach or something. I don't know.
Man.
It looks like a happy butterfly.
You ever just wake up and feel like you're in the middle of a supervillain origin story, Dragon?
I've had my days.
Oh, I have too, my friend.
Yeah. Anyway, so yeah, all the ink blots morph, and this is clever. I love this. On the rewatch, I completely forgot about this. It's been a while since I've seen this. Where I love how each ink blot gets progressively more and more Arnold-esque, gets more and more lifelike. So the first, like, it's ink blot that morphs into a football head. Then the next one morphs into very Arnold looking with a little mouth. It's a still ink blot. And the last one, of course, and this pays off. It's it's Arnold turns and he's in full color. He gives her the wink and finger gun. Like that.
Which is of course going to come back.
I love how that comes back. And yeah, look how much person. It's so fun because Arnold, is very much a straight man. He's very much.
Yeah, much like the Lemons. It's like Arnold, even in ink blot form, is like very polite, very easygoing.
I got to tell you though, even with the a little bit with the Lemons and more so with the ink blots, I got to tell you, even with Arnold here, I think it's the most kind of personality we've seen from Arnold because again, Arnold just kind of blends in. He's very much he's the wise Solomon of the Arnold universe here, where he's in this case he gets the a little more personal, like a little hey, Arnold, my name's in the show, hey, that sort of thing. Okay, so of course she just tosses him right out the window. Okay, that's enough ink blots. Then we get to the word. We get to the word association. Diggy, play him through this one.
Okay, word association. Let's see. So love, hate, rocket, locket, the pocket, Davy Crockett, football, head. Did I say head? I mean game, football game.
Let's move on.
Monday night football.
Let's move on. Okay, so then Bliss addresses being invisible and how it's a shame. Helga, it's a shame you feel invisible to your family. And of course, Tiki, I think you have. I guess you have the line where she addresses how do you feel with your family members to your mother.
Yeah, my mom wouldn't notice me if I was an alien pod person chanting Hare Krishna and spitting nickels.
I just love it. What cracks me up though, again, it's not a big joke. I love that, because she's very trained, she's very professional. I just love Dr. Bliss as the straight man here, not like batting an eye at that.
God.
Like she's seen worse. She's she can handle it. So then we have a flash. I like that we do have a formatted flashback to each parent here. So, with Miriam, we have a flashback. And this is a funny one. There's always been like a funny memory from this episode for me where we flash back to Miriam, quote unquote, and I say this in quotes because hilariously, more like scarily, sleeping it off. Again, it's like, where's your mother?
This is the moment that reminds me of my mother. I'm not calling my mother an alcoholic by any stretch, but let's just say my mother has a history of being really dumb with keys.
Oh. Okay.
And so, yeah, I know it probably wasn't as dark as you were expecting.
Yeah, I don't know, I was saying like narcolepsy, which again, it's not dark. It's just I was expecting something more relevant to the couch. But
Well, I could get into personal details.
all right, let's see. I don't want to
My
force you
mother
that.
right now, but I'm not
Well,
going to. But
well, it's not. I'm not
suffice
your
to say, my
therapist.
mother's terrible about losing keys and the whole like they're hanging on the hook. Miriam Dragon. That's my mother in a nutshell when it comes to keys.
The thing is, again, I like that we're kind of because we're looking at this, from a therapy perspective. I just love seeing, we're now again we I think this episode might be the best one to showcase Miriam's, the drinking problem with Miriam. I don't
Oh,
know
I
if
absolutely do too.
I can't think if there's another one that best does it here because again that's why it's like hilarious quote unquote because okay she's like where's Miriam. She's on the couch, and of course on the couch because she's just sleeping it off, forgetting to make Helga's lunch
And
entirely.
she packed a glorious lunch of let's see, a moist cowlet, a single pack of crackers, and shaving cream.
Or as Tony Clifton would flavor it. Moist it? Anyway, no. Anyway, so
I was
moist
gonna
it.
make a Jurassic Park joke myself.
Moist it? A barbasol can. Crackers, because it's a hearty breakfast. Anyway,
Crackers, I can't complain about that. It's something.
I do
Anyway.
like a good premium. I'm gonna give a little Frasier. I'm gonna give like a little Frasier Crane plug here. Premium saltine crackers. You'll go nuts for them. Anyway.
Yeah.
Anyway, so yeah, what is there? So what is the shaving cream replacing, Tiki?
The shaving cream is replacing oh god, the cheese whiz.
God, and what is Big Bob's wonderful line from the he just yells down from the bathroom. I'll say this way.
Miriam, how am I supposed to run a beeper empire with my face smelling like hickory smoked cheddar?
God, just I'm sorry.
And of course, we got to throw in the obligatory. Hey, look! It's the Leaning Tower of cheese.
Yep.
Anytime cheese whiz is involved.
I will say this, just that gag there again. I think I'll raise you your key story. I'll say, my grandparents they love to communicate through yelling, up and down the stairs like that. So it's big. Basically, if they had writers, they would sound like Big Bob.
God.
So I mean, yeah, it's just the of course the explanation of what happens because again, it's kind of sad that again Miriam didn't again she's just so disinterested. She didn't make any attempt to amends and give her any money for lunch. Just like had her go as is with the shaving cream. She like, hey, don't eat this, but hey, bring along with you.
God.
And so she's because she tried again. This didn't go upstairs and get the shave. Didn't get the cheese whiz from Big Bob. Again, that's just to get. Did he use it all? Like what's going on? So she traded it for Mr. Fudgy Bar with Harold. Harold did not even notice the shaving cream.
Yeah, he thought it was some sort of whipped topping.
And at this point, again, you see Harold. I'm sorry, no, not Harold. You see Helga is reluctantly getting closer and closer to the chair because now she's like in the position, like sitting next to like the wooden banister or something in the room.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so then here we go. So then she's speaking to her father, and of course, with Big Bob brings Olga, and of course, those two elements together brings about are very much like how Batman Beyond Return of the Joker has a huge pivotal flashback, and this is our big pivotal flashback for the episode.
Oh, absolutely.
Shock and awe. Okay. So, in reference to Big Bob, his preference of Olga, we have flashback to years ago. Folks, buckle up. It's going to be an adventure. It's going to be a reminiscent adventure in nostalgia. So, years ago. Olga's showing off on the piano, and a poor widow Helga. She
About
needs
4 years old.
Yes, she needs a ride to preschool.
Who's gonna give me a ride to preschool?
Oh god, this like they were. I love that. I mean, folks, I think the image.
In a minute, Olga. No, I'm Helga, Dad. Helga.
Okay, let's unpack this for Olga. It's so tragic. Here's the fact that Olga, the gang usually is okay. Olga's not around, so he doesn't care enough to realize okay that is Helga, not Olga. Well, he's too lazy to kind of make the delineation. But this is what's sad. Olga's in the scene. And there's little Helga, and he doesn't care this early on. That's what's sad. That's what's tragic.
Yeah.
So again, as Olga's like showing off the piano, like the parents they're going nuts. They're like, oh my god, look at all these trophies, look at all these awards. Oh, we're so proud of her. Who cares about the pink one? But yeah, just Bob brush. And again, to be fair, Bob is just he's either ridiculously stupid or ridiculously cruel because he just brushes Helga off like he's just so distracted by Olga here.
Mhm.
To the point where, again, poor Helga here. And as you can see by the image before us, folks, again, Helga was designed as the young Helga, like possibly 3 years older. Like, I don't know, she's really young. No
Say
older
like
than
3 to 4, yeah.
she's no older than 5 at the most. She's
Uh-huh.
under 5. Or she's again. They are designed. They designed our kids in our preschool era Arnold children. We did this too in the journal where we showed our younger versions of our Hey Arnold characters. And they're always cute when we see them as youngsters here. And oh my God, young Helga is so heartbreakingly adorable. And again, with such a dramatic story, because basically, I'll bet you it was a betting pool of some kind, Tiki. It had to be a betting pool of some kind amongst the writers, like Steve Viskin, God bless his soul. He was probably in the writers' room alone with some of the other, like Craig Bartlett, who else? Just they're in the writers' room. Say, okay, we need the saddest origin for Helga ever. How can we punch this up and make it sadder? Okay, Steve, you got any ideas? Well, okay, let's say it's raining. Okay, that's a good start, Steve. What else we got? Okay, so it's raining. Okay, she's walking. She's on. I'm okay. Before she leaves, she pokes her ass. I'm going to preschool.
Oh God.
Give her a cute lisp. Okay, we'll give her a cute little. Write that in. We'll specify that with the voice director. Okay, what else, Steve? What else we got? Okay, let's see. Okay, so she's walking down, and we give her we suggest that she's in a bad neighborhood. To get to this preschool, you got to go through a bad neighborhood section of the town, of the city. Okay, good. We go by that familiar Mark Hamill homeless person. Yeah, okay, that's good. Let's keep going, keep going. So she's walking and it's raining, and she stands by these adults, and let's frame them like the Peanuts. Okay, we'll frame them it's like the waist up, like we barely even see their faces. It's like a little girl like knees height who gets, because she's so short. Yeah, we'll make her short, and because she's so short, she gets splashed by the mud and the water. It's like all covered in mud and stuff. It'd be tragic. Yeah. So then what? But then she's walking down the way, and as she's walking down the way, a big mean dog, a dog that's way bigger than her, a big mean dog. It takes her lunch. And what else? We need something else, something sadder, darn it. Craig, you got any ideas? Okay, I know. What if the dog turned around, just defiantly, scrub some mud,
Rub some salt in the wound,
yeah,
just for the heck of it.
Yeah, so, they basically, kicked some mud in her face, essentially, blew with paws. All right, so then she's making her way there, and she's making her way there, and she's right in front of the preschool. And guys, we're going real gloom and doom for this. I like it, but we need something really to tug at the heartstrings in an uplifting way. We need to pull the puppet out of the mud, so to speak, by the strings. How do we do that, gentlemen? Okay, I got it. Steve, you're the brilliant writer. Tell us what you got. Okay, I'll tell you what I got. Okay, a familiar Packard shows up. A familiar green, beloved Packard shows up. The music softens. Almost as if the clouds part. The rain lightens. It's still going, but it lightens a little. And in front of the preschool, a big moment, the nexus of Hey Arnold occurs. We're out of the car. Steps a little adorable Arnold. Basically,
Arnold is just so polite.
Okay, so
my favorite part of the scene is I love how proud Phil is. Phil, it's very subtle, Dragon, but Phil's like, oh, Mike Short man, such a nice little boy.
All right, so off of my little Steve Steve Viskin and Craig Bartlett thing. Off of that. Sorry about that. It's kind of got carried away in that. But in all seriousness, though, again, what's so great about that, and I'd say Nexus, because this is the meeting of two great stories here. So in Parents' Day, we had the young Arnold story, the definitive young Arnold story, and here, this episode is the definitive young Helga story in this flashback here. What's so great about it, and here's where they meet. So that prideful look on Phil's face, I didn't read it as pride nor I read it as something else. I read it as Phil having the connection he does to Arnold, like, hey, every day's an adventure with this kid. I don't see my son, but I have Arnold here. That's what I saw it as. But again, I love hearing I love the writing on young Arnold here, because again, this is it's so innocent, so sweet. And again, it's the cutest thing you ever darn near seen, folks. I mean, look at these two. Look at that screenshot, darn it. Look at it, observe it, worship it. Anyway, but what you see here is young Arnold. I love how he's written here, but he's very innocent. He's like, he's it kind of plays the whole like the girls mature faster than boys thing, and I don't mind that here because they do it smartly. Where Arnold, he's just being very, yeah, it's like an Arnold who, um, he, it's a big moment of it's the one, it's a huge moment for Helga in that it's the one person who noticed her, and I love how we build up to that. I kind of glaze over the whole Bartlett thing, but it's after that mud splash, after like things looking really depressing. We cut to the therapy session for a brief moment. It says, "Oh God, that sounds awful." So no one noticed you. Well, there was one person. Then enter Arnold into into the picture where he just innocently says, "I like your pink. I like your pink bow because it's pink like your pants."
God, it's
And
such a
again, it's
simple, like 4-year-old thing to say.
that's what I'm saying, Teague. What I love with both of them, especially later on with Helga, is that they're written like 4-year-olds. But here's the thing: it plays to who these characters are. Where Arnold, he's a nice guy. And he's the helpful umbrella to the downtrodden character in the rain. That's who Arnold is. And again, he's not as verbose or as kind of like stoically written. He's just something really nice and just innocent to say. And again, just speaking to just a simple observation. Where later on with Helga, we're going to see something like her poetic. It's like she's not logically to the point where she's read like a lot of poetry books because she's like 4 years old, but she does say something to the effect of like someone who has love and romance and thoughts of poetry in her heart, and we'll get to that a little bit more later. But again, it's such a sweet little moment, these two meeting each other, and you buy fully that this is where the connection starts. He was the only person to show her kindness in this world.
Uh-huh.
That's a thing of beauty, and you buy where that's coming from. So we see on the inside, Helga's starting to have like again, we see it develop here. We see the love starting to develop. It's like, oh man, there's a friend right there, and of course it develops in the love where she's there with her young classmates and the old gang. She's sitting across from Arnold and Gerald, instantly buddies, which delights me, doing like a little thumb thing. And Harold steals, and again we're playing the whole Harold like kind of bully but with a heart of gold sort of thing. Where Harold he steals her crackers. The importance of saltines, folks. For that earlier scene, the importance of crackers.
Then Arnold just swoops in like, "What, mine?"
And oh my god, yeah, that's the thing. It's Arnold being helpful, without being verbose or having to contemplate anything. Just being nice and stuff.
Yeah, yeah.
She Arnold shares, Helga gives like a loving sigh, and then to like oh, and then to her heart. And I love just how it all comes into place. I love how the origin comes into place in Antigua. I love that without dialogue, it is communicated, and that you get it in here. Anyone of any age can get it in this moment without it being explained. That she's mocked by Harold, making fun of like the loving exclamation. Everyone's
Dragon,
laughing.
without going into detail, I went through a very, like, there was a pivotal moment in 8th grade where it's like, I liked a girl, and then it got out. It got out. And there was a moment where I could have embraced it or I could have run from it. I ran from it. And Dragon, I still think about that to this day.
Oh yeah, and I think we've all had moments like that.
Yeah, yeah.
So again, this is the origin of it all right here, folks. And again, this is the thing we've been building up to for a reason. Again, with that earlier scene of Helga falling into the same pattern behavior with the relationship with her parents, and we paralleled all this, and we're showing this is the big moment where we answer the question. Again, last week was speaking to the big kind of flight or fight moment of your destiny, where she has that moment of choice, that moment of change. Is she going to go with her heart, or is she going to go with misguided logic? Where we learned that those mocking feelings that Harold making fun of her made her secure. They made her insecure and distrusting, and what she's doing in the scene, she's taking that insecurity and she's channeling that frustration and channeling it through bullying. She's channeling it through it's so poetic when you think about it, is that it's the thing that condemned her, she took and turned it into her own weapon. She uses, and it's almost like, like the bat inspiring the logo in a way. It's very much for her. I'm going to take the object of my dread, being mocked at, being bullied, being looked at differently as my outlet for my frustration at this very phenomenon where I'm going to act out as a defense mechanism to mask that feeling so no one looks at me like that again. I can basically be the biggest guy in the room, essentially.
Right.
And she basically takes it out on Harold, and of course in doing so she scares off Arnold forever, technically. Where, again, not that Arnold would be unwilling to give her another choice, but she definitely scared off Arnold here, and she because she does so often, she'll never have a chance really with Arnold, and they get until like 17 years later. So she points out, "Hey, he's old. Take him through old Betsy."
It's old Betsy and the Five Avengers. I like
And
to think Helga's a comic fan, little Helga.
I was thinking more like the Mauve Avenger from that later episode. It's like the five Avenger. So then Helga owns the place, and again, very much like we saw in that earlier scene, she's taking charge. She's walking through the arts and crafts kind of lesson going on there. She's like knocking paint in, she's stepping on stuff, and like pushing people around. Hey, you use that finger painter, you wear it. Ah. And then of course we have the proto locket, which is adorable.
Yes, yes. Oh God.
She proclaims, and that is the
I
scene that
love
gets.
you, Arnold, and I want to marry you.
I take it that scene right there. That's what I'm talking about. With that again, such a simple declaration. Again, she can't kind of romanticize like these long reams of poetry, but she can just say, well, she's being very. This is the most direct any of those soliloquies were ever. Where she's like, "I love you." You see where it started, and I just basically, I get a sense that as she grew up, she's kind of lumped more on top of that. Where it's
Exactly,
I love
right.
you and I want to marry you. It's so adorable. And then of course, Brainy, a cutesy Brainy appears, and and of course gets punched. And that's where we can snap back into reality, where Bliss realizes, okay, that's where it came from. Okay, that's what I need to know.
I mean, all I was trying to do was get a stinking minute alone, and there he is, breathing away.
Yep. So Helga not confessing the Who, of course. So basically, as she has that realization, she's also like doing the punch clown thing, where basically she's like, oh man, Helga, it's a lot to be angry at. She's punching the clown. Each punch clown is like it's Bob, it's Miriam, it's Olga.
Mm-hmm.
And she's asking the like, Tiki, take us through this, by all means.
Yeah, so why do you take it out on Arnold? I'm not angry at Arnold. I told you before.
Then, of course, we explain the age-old confidentiality
Oh,
agreement.
yes. Oh, yes.
Take us through.
Yeah, so of course Helga, your secret's safe with me. Anything in this room will be kept in secret. It's my professional code. Oh,
Of
boy.
course, Helga makes sure of this by
I mean, you're sworn, right? Even if you were tortured, you'd never tell. I swear I'd never tell. So if someone stuck your head in a cage and with a starved, rabid rat, you still wouldn't tell. Even then, Helga. And I love how Dr. Bliss, she doesn't bat an eye. She just goes with it.
Yep.
All right. So I have the whole soliloquy dragon if you're ready.
Okay, let me see if there's anything I need to do to set up here. So this is the big moment, folks.
Yeah,
and
yeah.
I love how the music, as this goes on, I'll say this myself. I love how with the confession, the music reflects, and I really hope you got this, Dick, is that the music sounds like it reflects love, yet a twinge of fear. There's like the twinge of uneasiness.
A tiny little bit of Psycho on the side.
Exactly, like a little bit of like Herman-esque. Like, I'm gonna take like I'm gonna take the love theme, but I'm also gonna add like a twinge of like there's something unhinged here. There's something like the lights on, but nobody's home. That's sort of like something like a twinge of fright of Norma Bates, if you will.
God. All right.
Love to the point of fear. Anyway, take him through, T. What is that? What does this declaration sound like?
I love Arnold. There, I said it. I love him. I love him. Arnold, Arnold, Arnold. I'm absolutely positively in love with the boy. I want to grow up and have a fabulous life traveling around the world with him. Coffee in Paris, roses, sailboats, the whole 9 yards. I want to have a perfume named after us. Arnold and Helga. I love Arnold.
I love.
She sets off car alarms and scares cats.
Yeah, which is kind of counterproductive, the whole confidentiality thing, but who cares? But I tell you this, my favorite part of that, aside from Coffee in Paris, but more so, my favorite line is a perfume named after. It's so random. It cracked me. I completely forgot about that on the rewatch. It was like, oh, a perfume. I had to stop to make sure I heard it right. A perfume named after. God, that's funny. So so then, and to me, speaking of Psycho, this is read to me very much like Bliss portraying the psychiatrist from Psycho, who is explaining. She's explaining the why to the kids here. Basically, Bliss kind of spells it out for the audience, mainly any kids who again would not get the explanation if it wasn't expressed well enough before, of like her going through the love and everything. If anyone didn't get the brilliant without it being spelled out for you before, Bliss spells it out a little, where she says, "Okay, so you're afraid to tell. You're afraid if you tell Arnold, he won't, and you do realize you won't know until you try to tell him."
Mm-hmm.
But you don't have to do it now. Love Bliss as the smart therapist here. She's saying, look, you don't have to do it now. Do it when you're ready.
Yeah.
And now, Tiki, you tell me how you feel about this, because I mean, I think on paper, I think it checks out. I'm just curious how it kind of lives up in your how much luster it shows to you. Is that basically Dr. Bliss okays all the shrines and the religious culty, the cult of Arnold.
I mean, I think Dr. Bliss kind of realizes that it's a phase, and as she says, it's a good way for her to express her creativity, if anything else.
Yeah, it's a thing. So I mean, I love that she rules. Well, the one sentence. So basically, so it's okay to do all the shrines. It says, hey, so long as no one gets hurt, which means no animal sacrifices.
I'm afraid so.
and can I sock Brainy?
Nah, don't sock Brainy. I like how she's like, you know what? He probably deserves it, but just don't do it.
That's the thing. I mean, again, that just fits into the whole don't as long as no one gets hurt. I mean, hey, don't hit Brainy. It's all fine. And it'd be interesting to you. This is the thing we got to go back and check. Is if at this point in the series, because we're familiar with her hitting Brainy, but does she hit Brainy after this episode?
Ooh, yeah, that is something we could track. Interesting.
That's a thing to track, with the exception of maybe. Wait, does she do it in the movie?
Oh, she must do it in the movie.
Yeah, with the exception of the movie.
Gotta do it in the movie.
Thing. So that's something to track to see if she because again she said she was gonna. Well, we'll get to it, but you know what I mean. I'm saying there'd be something to track just for posterity's sake to see how long she held off of hitting Brainy at the very least. Let's see. So, but yeah, I mean, the fact that she specifies as long as you don't hurt anyone, I guess, yeah, technically it's fine, because it does fit in the whole especially what we know about Bates Motel. We learned that okay, so long as the minute becomes a danger to himself or others, that's when the whole commitment and that's when a problem arises.
Exactly.
So the session's over, much to Helga's disappointment. I always loved this. It's a shame that Bliss never came back after this, but this was nice.
Yeah, again, Nickelodeon, the Patakis.
So the session's over, and she says, "But we can talk again." And again, unfortunately, poor Dr. Bliss, we never see again. I'm sorry to show you a door.
Yeah.
Of course, we can always talk again, and then take you what happens, and we speed up the animation on this. What happens?
She runs into Arnold.
All right, maybe I'll take it.
I'm sorry, that's kind of not very specific, anyways.
We can always talk again. Helga goes away. We kind of speed her running off all giddily, and then she really quick she doubles back and she hugs Dr. Bliss.
Oh yeah, right. Got it.
It's adorable. Her hugging Dr. Bliss. Oh, yeah, sorry. At least we sent her off with a nice little goodbye. That Dr. Bliss. Oh man, she really helped. She really helped with. It was the best exposition ever that the Dr. Bliss served this episode in the best of ways.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so Helga's feeling great.
To Arnold, and of course it's as mean spirited as ever. Just you should watch where you're going. Quit crashing into me like some all the time. Sheesh.
But again, for a moment though, she did contemplate it. She kind of like, is this the moment
to say that? Nice running into you too, Helga.
Yeah. So we're all okay. She's remarking to herself as she's in the neighboring alleyway, and of course, out of all the Brainy moments, out of all the
this is wonderful. And of course, it kind of solidifies the Valentine's Day theme too, Dragon.
It does. However, I will say this though, an unrelated note with Brainy though. This honestly, out of all the Brainy appearances, I don't mean this in a negative way. I'm just saying, out of all the Brainy moments, this is kind of the most troubling, the most he's taken it to it. But Helga calls him on it, which I love. I'm just saying, Brainy shows up with a ring in hand. I'm just saying, this is the most, this is the biggest upgrade that Brainy has had in terms of, his courtship of Helga, his bizarre courtship of Helga. But again, I love that, Helga calls him on it. Calls that how wrong it is.
Weird. I mean, how is it that you're standing right behind me again? how'd you get into this little arch? And were you just waiting for me to come into this alley? What's the deal? I love how she's not only questioning him being creepy, but she's also kind of questioning the cartoon logic as well.
And of course, her doing this, of course, she has like the shrine and everything to Arnold. Her of all people calling out on this, but regardless, I just love that it's like we've never seen her do is like kind of address brain. He's always like punch him. It's like the one time she doesn't do that.
Today I'm feeling generous, but tomorrow, look out.
And then, oh my god, it's
that just sends Brady's heart aflutter. Like that's good enough for Brady.
Yep, and then we end on the friendly lemon. She walks by that same lemon stand.
Hey, Helga, how you doing? Looking good.
And she gives him the finger gun like the Arnold gave her in the ink blots. It's like, hey, that's oh my god, yeah, friendly lemons. I like you too.
Perfect, just perfect.
That's the episode.
All right, so Dragon, yeah, I think this is a flawless episode of Hey Arnold. I really do. It has everything. It's got great comedy. It's got a lot of pathos to it. It's got some really pivotal character stuff. It's probably like outside of the Parents' Day stuff in the journal, the most pivotal backstory we get in the series of a character. And overall, in terms of just speaking to the Valentine's Day of it all, I love how this is obviously like we've addressed, folks. This wasn't written to be a Valentine's Day episode or anything like that, but I really like how this episode speaks to
the origin of relationships.
Yeah, not only that, but just the pain of having a crush and how hard it can be to deal with,
Yes.
So I feel like that's a very relatable thing on Valentine's Day. This episode is almost kind of a really good Singles Awareness Day episode of Hey Arnold, because it's sort of like, hey, you know what? She can't tell him right now, but that's okay. We're all okay,
Yeah.
So, just a masterstroke from this show. Just, it definitely among the greatest.
Yeah, this episode is, it's a perfect, it is the episode for Helga. It's the greatest hit of all the Helga episodes. It's great. It deserves, look, whether I forget where I put it, because, I forget where we land on where we put Helga on the couch. We even put it on any of our lists. We might have discounted it because it's ridiculously good.
I think we discounted it because we counted it as special.
Yeah, that's the thing. Regardless, it was like a 20-minute episode. I forget where we landed on a lot of that, but the point is, I absolutely get why it would be like on a top 5 list. Let's say it deserves a spot really high up there if someone were lumping everything in there. But you run the risk of there's so many good Hey Arnold episodes they kind of bump each other. Like, oh my god, it's like they're fighting each other to get to the top spot. But just Helga on the Couch. It's a great episode. It's very memorable. I mean, it was nostalgically kind of a big event when I watched it. Where again, it was like an event that just snuck up on you. It wasn't big, wasn't promoted. It just kind of happened.
Right. That's a good way to put it. Yeah,
it just happened, and you were swept up in it. That's the that's what I describe it. It's big strides, and again for the Valentine's Day of it all, and just for I think what stands out to me again is the origin quality of seeing, understanding that, the reason, again, that poetic, that really sweet reason of why she is, so hung up on Arnold, seeing that again, it's after building up so much sympathy with that big buildy flashback of, her family was so cruel and so distant to her and just so kind of despondent to her. And the one person in this world who paid her any mind, who showed her any kindness, was Arnold. There's something beautiful about that. And that's what I love most about this episode, just that moment of seeing the origin of that obsession. Like, why is that fire fueled so much? Why is she so obsessed? Why isn't she just take the clear approach? Because it's something very important to her, because it's something that really defines her. It's like the only, short of Phoebe, it's the only positive. And again, even Phoebe's kind of an unhealthy relationship that she is kind of perpetuating, like how Big Bob treats people with Phoebe, only it's it's a little nicer.
Right.
Now, again, Arnold is the only, and that's the tragedy of it. It's technically the only positive relationship that she has, while at the same time the positive relationship that she constantly is like pushing a boulder up a mountain for. She's constantly one step forward, 2 steps back with. Again, it's like the best romantic tragedy you've ever seen between Arnold and Helga that eventually has a happy ending.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, thing of beauty.
All right, folks. Well, thanks for joining us on this special Valentine's Day installment. Like I said, it's kind of a unconventional Valentine's Day pick, but we hope you enjoyed it.
Arnold Lemon, will you be my Valentine?
Hey, Helga, looking good.